Welcome, Knights of Apollo. It is I, Pixelated-Apollo. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you guys are doing well. And you just made it in time for another siege battle in Medieval Kingdoms Total War 1212 AD. This time, the North is invading. So we have the vassals of the Holy Roman Empire standing together, trying to defend some Holy Roman territory, because the main army from the Holy Roman Empire, they're out on holiday. So it's up to the vassals to defend their lands, and they're getting attacked by two armies from Norway, and then we have some Swedish allies joining the fun, trying to help the Norwegians conquer the Holy Roman Empire. So this is going to be a great fight here. It's going to be a little bit different because you can see that there's actually a bit of a pitch battle going on, which I think is really cool. It is a coastal settlement, so I assume this is somewhere in the north, like northern territory of the Holy Roman Empire, where it's very easy for the Norwegians and the Scandinavian factions to do a ship landing and get ready to assault this great city. So the rules, the two factions on the flanks, so we've got, let's see, who do we have here? We've got the Duchy of Brabant. They have to defend this flank, and then on this side we have the Duchy of Pomerania, and they have to defend the left side. And then the one faction can stay back and hold the defenses, which is the Duchy of Saxony. So it's up to them to put up the final stand. So it's gonna be a great matchup here. Let's go ahead and look at the army comps and get this one started. I believe it's gonna start pretty soon, so we'll start with the attackers because they're nicely organized. So the first army is the Kingdom of Norway. He's got some knights, some heavy shot cav. For his infantry, he's mostly bringing the squires. So it's a pretty solid heavy melee infantry, tier 2, nice solid force. Back here, he has got some Orkney Islanders. They're a very, very good heavy bow infantry. They also can hold their own in melee, so it's going to be a tough unit to take on. He does have some artillery pieces like the bombard and a catapult. In the very back, he is bringing some candlemen. And way back here, he's got a unit called the Guest, which is, you know, an interesting name. The Guest, be our guest. And then we have the King of Norway, who is leading this great army. So that's pretty much it for his force. Moving on to the next Norwegian army. He is also bringing some knights, some mounted knights here, heavy shot cav. Great cav force. He's also bringing some candlemen, so it's a very similar army to the first one. In the front lines, he's got the Orkney Islanders. He does have the squires in the secondary line, and in the very back, he's got, well, this is pretty much an identical army. He's got a bombard, and he has a catapult, and way back here, he's got some foot knights. Very nice, heavy melee, very deadly. Got that nice polearm weapon. And then we have the King of Norway. So there's two kings in Norway. How does that work? That must be awkward. And then we have Sweden, who's bringing some Swedish knights over here. He's got some spear bondir. He has a catapult, and he's got some Hanseatic infantry, which is really, it's kind of like the Orkney archers, where they're pretty good with crossbows, but they can fight pretty well in melee. They do have some decent capabilities. Then he's got some mercenary men-at-arms, so he's got some mercenaries joining the fight. He's got some herdmen, which is a pretty cool medium melee infantry. Not heavy, but not light. They should be able to hold their own in close combat. And then he's got the Huskarls, which is a fantastic unit. Very good at just chopping up people. So we're going to see that on the battlefield. More spears in the back, more Swedish knights, a catapult, and more infantry back here. He does have his general, which is the Swedish knights unit. So there you have it for the attackers. Let's move on to the defenders. We will start with the Duchy of Pomerania, who's bringing some spear sergeants. In the back, he's got the Great Banner of Krakow, I think is how you pronounce that one. A very cool unit. This is an awesome faction. I love this cav unit. Very deadly. He's got to use them wisely in today's fight. He does have some heavy axemen. Good old axemen. You can never see enough axemen. They got the kite-shaped shields. Looks fantastic. That's his main infantry force. Really cool stuff. He's got a lot of them right in the center. Then he's got some spear sergeants in the back. He's bringing a bombard, which is going to be great at bombarding. Then he has some archer sergeants in the back. Here's his general, which is the Polish king. Very interesting. And yeah, that's pretty much it for his force. Lots of archers, oh, he does have some halberdiers, which is going to be helpful at holding choke points. Let's move on to the center army, which is defending strategic choke points. It is the Duchy of Saxony, who's bringing some Pavie spears. He does have some Sergeant's High Period, which is a solid heavy infantry. And back here, he is bringing some cav. He's got these Saxon Knights, which look really cool. I love the green and yellow and black. It's a great color scheme. Over in the very back defenses, we do have Sergeant's High Period, just ready to hold the final stand in case their allies cannot win their battles on the flanks. And he has some Pavie's crossbows up on the second tier, ready to fire down. And Saxony also has... Let's see, what else does he have here? He's got more Pavie spears, but that's really basically it. Just a lot of spear sergeants, Pavie spears, crossbows, and some Saxon knights. Let's move on to the final army, which is the Duchy of Brabant. He's bringing some mercenary Swiss pikemen. In the back, he has some sergeants late period, which are going to do fantastic. I love the late period. Really good equipment. He has the Barbrantian Knights, which again, late period heavy shock cav. You can tell just based on the technology they have here, the steel plate armor. Then he's got mounted sergeants high period, so a good cav force there. He is bringing some Pavie spears, which are excellent at holding the front line and choke points. He's got armed peasants, more sergeants late period, some men at arms, and more mercenary Swiss pikemen. And of course, he does have some archers in the back, but mostly bringing, let's see, Pavie's crossbows and a couple peasant archers. So that's it for the army comps. Let's go ahead and begin the fight. Here we are with the start of the battle. One thing I forgot to mention in the intro is that once the attackers get around the perimeter of the city, then the forces fighting out in the open, they can then retreat. They just have to put up somewhat of a stand against these forces. So I like these rules because it's completely different. We never really see siege battles like this where there's these massive pitch battles when they're trying to actually defeat their opponent in the open field, which is going to be really challenging for them because the attackers have more money, so they're already at a huge disadvantage. They need to rely on the defenses of the settlement to win this fight, so they got to pull off some pretty good maneuvers here. Let's head back this way where I think the fight is going to take off first. We have Sweden pushing up their equipment, and they've got their Hanseatic infantry that are going to push on the very right flank. He's moving up the infantry. He's being very aggressive. The center army is now beginning their assault on the town. So they're not going to hold back. They're going to get ready to try to take out the Duchy of Saxony. And also we have Norway pushing forward as well, ready to engage the Duchy of Brabant. And Brabant, they are, well, they're still forming up. I think he's just trying to come up with a good idea, good strategy. He does have some halberdiers waiting in the tree line. They are hidden, but they are winded for whatever reason. So hopefully this will be a pretty good surprise attack. Oh, general under attack. Where is that? Oh, Sweden's general under attack by, I assume, enemy artillery. Now the catapults are firing, which is down to one catapult. So great job from the Duchy of Pomerania using their artillery, which is back here, to snipe out the enemy catapults. Is he firing right now? Is he gonna just blow up? He's gonna destroy the spear sergeant unit. Let's see, is he gonna fire? I think he's holding. No, he's firing. No, it didn't kill them. Amazingly enough, it went right over their heads. Amazing. And they do destroy the catapult, but it gets one last shot, which goes nowhere. And that's going to be it for the Swedish artillery. So that's a great start. Actually, hold on. I think they have two pieces of artillery, so that's troublesome. That's going to be difficult. Man, this is going to be tough for the defenders here, guys. Let's see, still nothing going on this side. Brabant just trying to hold back, which is good. You know, just if the attackers don't want to advance forward, more power to you. You can just hold out and wait. Cav, he's got a cool like Cav spear force in the front lines. He might be trying to, you know, wait for a good opportunity to strike and get a good Cav charge. This Polish Cav waiting. I think this would be a good flank to attack. I mean, he does have some spears here, but if he can get to those archers, the only issue is the archers, if they focus down the incoming Cav, they could obliterate it. Okay, so he's moving out his Cav around the flank. He's got more Cav, both Cav units pushing to the left flank in perspective of Pomerania. The center is burning. They're burning down the city. This is a unfortified city. And unfortunately, I guess all he can really do now is just pray that he doesn't hit any of his forces. The catapult's going to be a big issue right here. I think for a battle like this, to make it more even, the attackers can't use artillery. Give it to the defenders. I mean, they're already outnumbered. Actually, are they outnumbered? No. Yes, they are by like 500. But yeah, give the attackers just siege equipment. That way it gives the troops, the armies outside, a chance to win this one. Not saying that they're going to lose, but it's definitely more challenging with artillery. Alright, so the bombardment's still underway in the center. We do have some cav mobilizing. I think the Saxon Knights, they might go for a charge here, looking for an opportunity to support their ally. This is actually really good. Okay, yep, they're marching forward. Let's see, what do we got here? We got the Orkney Islanders. We definitely have Norway being very passive here, not being super aggressive, just trying to figure out what his opponent's going to do. Over on the other side, Sweden is being extremely aggressive, retreating his crossbows. He had them pretty close, but I guess he wants to get them out of safety. Now, I don't know why the crossbow militia, they need to be in the front lines. You don't want to leave your infantry out in the open like that, because the crossbows are going to be able to obliterate them. And I think that's what's happening right here. You can see there's a lot of casualties in the front line for these heavy axemen as they form shield wall. Get those archers in the front. That's why they're there. Let them absorb that ammo. You do not want your infantry dying from crossbows from afar. That's the worst way to lose your infantry. Yeah, I don't really get when players have their archers in the back. I mean, I just don't get it, because they're further away from enemy archers, so the enemy archers are just going to focus down the infantry. But he is still firing his bombard, so at least he has something to fire at the enemy forces. And I think he's still going after the artillery. Yep, he is. That bombard is deadly accurate, taking out the wooden catapults. And the catapults, I think, oh, he's breaking. He's like, you know what, screw this. That bombard is way too accurate. That is OP as hell. Their crossbows are in position, ready to get a volley off. Any day now. You know, whatever. They'll take their time. The archers are now advancing. He is firing his catapults in the defensive positions. Yeah, the catapults do not make this an easy fight for the defenders. It is insane. It is crazy. Though the catapults haven't really gotten any kills. I mean, this is a pretty good formation against catapults. Stretching them out like this is pretty solid. Though the catapult is getting somewhat of solid hits. I guess not. I wouldn't say solid, but he is getting hits, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Here comes some returning fire from the defenders, firing down into their position. Just short of killing some of these squires who are in like almost testudo formation. Oh, what do we got here? We got a cab charge coming in right into the front lines. And big mistake from the Duchy of Pomerania, who do not protect their front lines. And the Swedish cav is just going to mow the very vulnerable infantry over. Never leave your infantry out in the open like that against enemy archers. We do have some fire arrows coming in. And there goes another charge from the Swedish knights, just pouring into the ranks of the Duchy of Pomerania. Thankfully, he does have some spears near the front line. They need to get going, try to get this cav stuck in prolonged melee. But no, they're going to fall back and go for another cycle charge. And their cav units are still very healthy. Where is the Pomeranian cav? Where did they go? There they go, the great banner of Krakow. They need to get going. They need to protect their front lines. We have more Saxon knights coming around the flank, going to support their ally. Still nothing going on here, just a bit of a skirmish. Finally, we have Brabant pushing up their archers to skirmish the attacking archers. Here we go, first charge. We got Spear Sergeants against the Spear Bondier. I don't think they're going to win this, but the Bondier are definitely going to hold their ground. And now the Polish cav trying to flank around, but they are getting shot to pieces from the attacking archers, the crossbows. You can see they lost, geez, they're almost like half strength. What happened to this cav unit? And you can see what happened to them right here. Look at this. The crossbows are so deadly. That is why the Pope, like, outlawed them. As long as you were a Christian faction, you couldn't use it against other Christian factions. How convenient. But yeah, the poor Polish cav is going to get butchered. They do not stand a chance. They might have stood a chance if they had full strength, but the crossbows easily cleared that up. And now the Swedish cav, I mean, they risked their general dying, but it's pretty doubtful in this situation. So he's got more cav coming over this way to support that cav engagement. Saxon knights with some Polish knights or as well. We also have the Polish king ready to charge in if needed. Now we've got more Swedish cav pushing that way. We do have some mercenary men-at-arms pushing over to the right flank as well. There's a nice engagement going on in the left or the right flank. Or left, right, it depends on what perspective. So it's a spear battle, not too intense. We do get, actually, we've got some nice Saxon cav charges. Look at this, taking out some of the archers. I think these are the Orkney archers. So the Saxon knights coming around, surprising the enemy. Well done there. Complete opposite from the other side of the defense. And just imagine being one of these soldiers and you're fighting on this side and you're thinking, oh, this is going great, guys. We surprise attacked them. We killed some of their archers. Meanwhile, on the other side, your allies are just getting butchered. So that's why battles are very iffy, you know? You just, one moment you think you're winning, the next moment you think you're losing and you break, even though you could have won. So the Saxon knights retreating out of there, falling back. Let's see what's going on. Oh, we got, oh, yep. The infantry are now looking at each other, having some conversations about the weather. I don't know. I doubt they're talking about the weather, but they are very close. Polish knights just standing and getting attacked by some spear bondier who throw in their peeler, their javelins, and now they're charging in with their spears. This is going to be a disaster for these Polish knights, and we have some Swedish knights going in as well. So they are outnumbered, they are outmatched because they don't have the correct weaponry. They don't have the correct, well, I mean, spears against cav, it's not going to be a good situation, even though this is Polish knights late period. I mean, they still can do a lot of damage, but we'll see. There we go. Finally, we got the infantry charging in. Let's go ahead and slow down the camera and get a good panel of this fight. Just panel over the fight. Yeah, right in the vegetation here, guys. Let's get rid of the HUD and enjoy this gruesome fight. Now we have fire arrows coming overhead. Look at that. Trying to kill some Swedish knights that are coming in. Oh, he charges the back of his own men in the front line. So they should definitely try to take advantage of that. If you see him do that, you know, that's never charge the back of your own men. All right, so let's speed it up. The infantry's starting to waver. They cannot withstand the mercenary men-at-arms. The spear sergeants are now left to defend the front lines. They are not going to stand for too long. We've got to fight around small huts around the perimeter of the siege defense. Heavy axemen taking on the herdmen. And more infantry just pushing through the gaps. And this stand here from the Duchy of Pomerania fell as soon as it started. They just did not make any smart decision. Or, well, I mean, it just was unfortunate. I don't want to be, like, harsh on the player. But, you know, it just wasn't a good start for Pomerania. Because just his archers were in the back. His cav did not do any. His cav did not protect his front lines. And that is why his infantry is crumbling. And also, let's not forget that the defenders have less money. So right away, he's at a disadvantage. So you got to pull off a miracle to be able to win an engagement like this. So there's that front line. Let's fly over to the other side where things are still pretty calm. So if the rules are that if the attackers reach the perimeter of the city, then everybody can retreat, I would just retreat this entire army, get it inside the center. Oh, what do we got here? A lot of burnt down buildings. He needs to get his crossbows up on the walls. They are firing some bolts into the enemy forces, but we have the guest, who are certainly guests in this settlement, firing back and trying to soften up the crossbows of Saxony. Buildings are burning. This army is crumbling. Hopefully they've killed enough. The balance of power is actually... I mean, this is still a really close battle. I mean, the attackers have about 1,000 more men, which sounds like a lot, but remember, they have the defenses to fall back on. And we still have Pomerania is not out yet. They still have some crossbow militia. At least he retreated some of his archers, but they're in a really bad spot. One good cav charge could take out all these archers, so he needs to maybe send up some infantry or just fall them back. Get them to the center, the town center, and help defend against enemy archers. Finally, the center forces are fighting. The Pavi spears are taking on some squires of Norway. So Saxony holding the center line. And on the other side, this is still at a standstill. The artillery trying to take out enemy archers, trying to take out the guest. But I would really try to save that ammo for the you know, when they clump up to try to take the city. I would retreat this army out of here. After seeing my ally getting crushed like that, there's no way, like, there's no way you're gonna stand your ground. Nice fire arrow volley into the city, I think. No, he's making sure these guys break. He's got some halberdiers who are wavering. Yeah, that's a great use of fire arrows, trying to break their morale, make sure they don't return. Even though these guys are cheering. What are you guys cheering about? You got just butchered out in the open plains. Not even a chance over there. But again, hopefully they've done enough damage to the what are they called? the Sweden, the Kingdom of Sweden. Hopefully they've done enough damage to them to where they're not that effective and you know, don't have enough forces to take out the center location of this settlement. But then most of the fighting is now right here, as we've got a mix of sergeants, Pavi spears against squires, and they fight for the streets of the unfortified settlement. Right around some ancient ruins, it looks like. Some like Roman ruins. So this is a pretty close fight. I mean, they've got some reserves back here. Definitely try to get some crossbows. I don't know why he doesn't have his crossbows up on the walls. Maybe he's afraid of enemy artillery, which he still has some ammo left. And he still has the bombard, which is also very low on ammo. I mean, it's not like he might be able to take out one section of the wall, but I think it's pretty safe to just send up some archers. Oh, what do we got here? Alright, so we've got some knights from Norway pushing forward. And the crossbows are falling back. Thankfully, the Duchy of Pomerania is going to fall back to the inner defenses. He did what he could, but it's just not enough. We have a cav engagement on this flank. We got some mounted sergeants taking on some knights. That is easily a victory for Norway if they just engage that cav. Oh, but they charge into the candlemen. Which is, you never, yeah, there we go. They're disengaging. Got more knights coming in. Oh no, this is actually... this is Norway's knights. They're going to fall back behind their infantry, which was a really nice transition there. Amazing. They didn't even break the infantry formation. And unfortunately, Brabant's mounted sergeants are just getting butchered by just enemy cav and enemy archers. Fire arrows are coming in, trying to soften up the armed peasants. He is using his armed peasants as a meat shield, which is always a great idea. I'm not sure why the attackers are wasting their ammo on armed peasants. I would rather use my ammo on these Pavi spears, but that's just me. But my question here is it better to have peasants or use that money on upgrades instead of peasants? So like getting another chevron instead of getting, you know, like a $100 peasant. That's the question of the ages, folks, and that's up to you. I mean, it's up to your play style. Do you send forward a lot of, you know, a lot of meat shields? If that's the case, then definitely get peasants. But if you rely on more quality troops, then I would prefer to get... I mean, personally, I'd rather get upgrades than peasants. Okay, so he charges in the back of his own men. He's just pushing his way, using brute force to break through this front line. The defenders do have some reserves over here that they should send forward. His knights are just like one at a time running down these sergeants' high period. Come on, don't let the cav run amok in your forces. There they go. The front line is crumbling. He needs to fall back. Fall back to the keep. And there we go. Finally, Norway is pushing forward. It's about time. And they're about to engage Brabant. And the forces on this side of Sweden are lining up, getting ready their assault. Artillery incoming. And the swords are burning to a crisp here. That was a great shot from the artillery. Try to spread out your men. Don't get them in huge blobs, because this is going to be a rough fight. Alright, yeah, the cav running around. We've got a nice cav engagement against the Saxon Knights and the Knights of Norway. I think the Saxon Knights have this one if they can just hold true. We also have a fight over here. The Saxon Pavis holding against some squires of Norway. Norway desperately trying to support their ally attack the center position where Saxony is holding. I love this camera mod. I say it every time, but you get some really cool shots. Look at this knight. Look at him go to town. Just trying to kill some enemies, some foes. Oh man, you get so many, like just the way the sun reflects off of him as he fights the Pavi spears. All right, let's zoom out here. All right, let's go to this fight where the infantry fight. The main battle line is underway, and the squires are just pushing through. We do have some urban militia from Brabant, but they do not stand a chance against squires. They are simply militia. His center lines are a little bit more professional, where he has some men-at-arms mixed in with some urban militia, so they might hold a little bit longer here. Yeah, more men-at-arms. Here's his sergeants. We've got a massive flank coming over here from Norway. He's got his mercenary Swiss pikemen, which is he gonna charge right into him? No, he's not. Which I was a little worried about. It's like, do not charge those Swiss pikes. That's going to be disaster. There's a fight going on here against the Pavis spears against the squires. So he's actually doing a pretty good job of holding this right flank. But the center lines are crumbling, and lots of infantry are just pushing through. The floodgates have opened. The archers are very vulnerable. They're going to get charged. And this is really bad because now their flank is exposed and they're going to easily break in the face of the enemy. Here's mercenary Swiss pikemen doing some pokey, stabby, stabby. They should hold for a little while, but for how long? I mean, the flank has been opened. And now there's Cav. Actually, that's the Polish king trying to support Brabant. Oh, we got knights charging in as well. Look at that push from Norway, trying to take out the sergeants late period. And once again, using brute force, which is risky because you can lose a lot of troops just trying to push through like that. But it seems like the knights of Norway are pretty unscathed, I guess. I mean, they didn't really lose a lot there. All right, yes, we got the... Oh, they are charging in. Look at this. They're charging into the pikes, which I think now is a good time to charge in because they've got the cav support. Here they go. Excellent cav charge. That's going to obliterate. Yep. Look at that. Most of them, they're mostly not dead, but they're going to be out of formation. They're trying to get back up, and they're going to break so quickly now that their flanks are exposed. Let's see what's going on in the center fight. Or oh man, yeah, this is such a good spot for a catapult. The lone catapult that survived that bombardment from Pomerania, now putting pressure on the defending forces inside the center. And it looks like Saxony actually sent out infantry to try to defend the outer streets, which I think is a huge mistake. You got to fall back to the town center. You don't want to push your lines too far out, or it's gonna be bad because you can easily be outflanked. But Saxony holds on for dear life, and unfortunately Brabant, their infantry is starting to waver. Yep, they're starting to waver, guys. And really what's left of the fight is right here, where the Duke of Brabant is doing everything he can to hold back these forces. Arrows flying in, crushing their morale. He does have some Pavi spears. Oh, enemy general has fallen. Who is it? Oh, it's the Duke of Saxony. He's been killed on the battlefield. Their men are going to lose morale very quickly, and his Pavi spears are starting to crumble. And the defending forces are falling back. Oh, yep, once again, the floodgates have opened. Swedish knights, they're going to come pouring in and just butcher the poor defenseless, not artillery, but archers on the battlefield. And I think that's going to be it for the defenders. I mean, just not a great stand. And I really can't blame them. You know, they did the best they could. It's just like they're at a huge disadvantage. And I think the battle, to be fair, was a little uneven. I think it's safe to say. I would have rules where you put a limit on archers and a limit on, or actually have no artillery for the attackers. I mean, if the defenders are going to come out and fight, artillery was just a bit too much. And yeah, yeah, I think it would have been more fair without the artillery. But the final forces are making their stand on this side. Brabant doing everything they can, but they are breaking. He's down to some crossbows holding the front line. It's never a good sight of seeing crossbows hold the front line. He still have his Pavi spears, but again, they're only good when their flanks are secure. If their flanks are open, they're going to break very quickly. Yeah, I think, yeah. Thanks for the update there, battle military advisor. But yeah, it's pretty obvious that this is heavily in favor of the attackers. Alright, so there's a minute left in the fight. We're really just watching the defenders put up their final stand. The last couple units. He's got crossbows now breaking. The Pavi's crossbows of the Duchy of Saxony. They're breaking apart. The town center is now open to be conquered. And the final couple units are located here, which is Brabant making their final stand against Norway. The Pavisers, Pavis spears. I mean, their flank is still protected, so they're going to fight on. But yeah, the crossbows are not going to last that much longer. They don't even have proper shields. They've got some solid armor, but, you know, well, actually, hold on. Look at this. He's winning here. I mean, I'm not trying to get you guys excited and make you think the defenders are going to win. It's just a cool little, like, wow, he's actually defeating some of the attacking forces. And we have some knights just kind of, like, laughing about it. Like, oh, my God, these poor peasants. There we go. That's it, guys. Everyone breaks, and that is a very clear victory. I don't know why this says close victory. It's actually quite the opposite. It's pretty one-sided. I think it was a little unfair, but I think it's a cool idea, and that's why I wanted to show you guys, because it was different. And I love seeing different battles. It makes them more unique, more exciting, and it was cool to see some pitch battles and a siege battle go on at the same time. But since they're at a huge disadvantage, they had to come up with a genius strategy and do some amazing plays, which unfortunately they were not able to pull off, and they were able to... well, the attackers were able to clean up the enemy forces. So I want to give a GG to all the players on the battlefield here. Good game to Gearhawk, who is the person who sent this in. He was Sweden. Here's his results. His general getting tons of kills. And then we have the two Norwegian forces, which the infantry doing great. And then here's the last one. And then over on this side, we have Brabant, who did all right with the spears, the Pavis. Again, no surprise there, but the infantry just got butchered by enemy artillery and archers. Harry Hobbit, he struggled there a little bit. The Cav, amazingly enough, he still got 172 kills with his Cav, but this very expensive Cav, the Great Banner of Krakow, he only got 20 kills, which you didn't get your money's worth if you get 20 kills. And it was just, unfortunately, Sweden was very clever with his cav charges, and it obliterated the forces. And then Commando Green, he did all right. Ooh, 0 kills with the Pavi spears. His infantry did okay. He went with the more of elite army, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to hold the center position, that main second tier like defense. So that's gonna wrap up today's battle. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, saying hello. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, a comment, share, and of course subscribe if you want to see more epic battles. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.